All right, all right, all right. It is Friday night, and welcome to another episode of the Sloppy Bro Show coming to you live. Tonight we got our special guest, JT. We're gonna be talk. We're gonna be talking about the bullshit impeachment inquiry that happened this week. For those of y'all that haven't checked it out, we're gonna be talking about that as well as going over the IG report that was released as well. So grab your beer, kick back, relax. Let's jump on into this. What's going on there, buddy? How you doing today, JT?
Man, just good to be alive. It was cold, rainy, and nothing like that after a hard day to settle in with a libation.
Hell yeah, man. Know what you're talking about there, buddy.
Oh,
Oh man.
so man, what do you? How was your week going?
Not too bad. Bit slow, because with being the Christmas holiday, things kind of slow down with Christmas coming up. So we'll be picking up come the new year, man. But slow's always good for
I
me,
hear,
man.
I hear you. So what the hell do you think about the whole impeachment deal?
Well, personally, the whole thing, like they've been saying, is a fucking sham. This is nothing but bullshit. From day one, they have nothing. They have no evidence for anything. They can't back shit up. It's all just fucking hearsay and third party speculation. I mean, Trump was smart as hell releasing the transcript when he did. Because I mean,
Yeah,
if you read it for
yeah.
yourself, you don't have to be a fucking rocket science. There is no quid pro quo or bribery or whatever it is they're trying to fucking say, happened. Um,
What kills me is they drag it out. The Democrats that is, they drag out parts of it that benefits them. Like even last night, they debated all the way in to the evening and didn't even take a vote until today.
well, that's because they're trying to drag it out for fucking TV, which makes no sense because
But
it's
then they're
just
trying.
boring ass fucking television. There's nothing exciting about the shit. As a matter of fact, for the last 3 days, they've essentially been saying and repeating the exact same thing. Why it took this long, I don't fucking know. They knew from the get go that they were going to vote to impeach. They knew the Republicans were going to vote against it. It never should have took this fucking long. This should have been a day at most.
Well, that's how Nadler campaigned to get on that council. Is he said he would be the toughest one on Trump, and he would definitely impeach him. But still, yet and I watched the whole thing. I watched the whole thing throughout the week, and they still have not produced for one firsthand knowledge account. Nobody that testified had a firsthand account of what Trump said when he said it. Second of all, where's the crime? They throw a bunch of accusations like spaghetti on the wall to see what sticks, and they can only come up with um, it was two articles. It was um, abuse of power, and the second one was had to do something with Congress,
Obstruction.
um, obstruction of Congress. Well, I mean, maybe you can clarify it for me. I don't see. We've heard this term before, but this was a big nothing burger.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, again, they could offer no proof on anything. I mean, it was all just fucking based on shifty shifts bullshit. What he did 2 weeks ago. Um, the witnesses that they brought forth, weren't on the fucking call. The only thing you had was Sonderland, and even he said he presumed quid pro quo. He didn't hear the
Right,
quid pro quo. He just thought from what he heard, he was like, "Huh, that sounds like
right.
quid pro quo to me." But even he clarified that shit. But the
Well,
Democrats
even
took that
wasn't
as fucking actual fact and proof and ran with it.
even the person in Ukraine came out and said that he didn't even remember talking to Sondland. Maybe a passing word on the elevator, but that's it. He never talked to him.
Well, the thing that got me was even the president came out and said There was no quid pro quo. And the Dems are like, oh, they're treating him like one of those goddamn like you're fucking captured, you're a fucking prisoner, and you're just saying that to go along with your fucking hostage taker to save your ass. And I'm like, do you know how fucking insulting that is to say to another foreign leader about another foreign leader that you're only saying that because you're afraid, you know?
Oh yeah, they were trying to make the new Ukrainian president look weak on the world stage by diminishing what he was saying. I mean, to even keep on Ukraine, I mean, this is how perverted this whole thing was. It was a female Democratic congresswoman that were trying to blame Trump for Ukrainian deaths, and there was another Republican congressman that pointed out, well, weren't there Ukrainian deaths during Obama's administration?
Well, that's what they keep saying. But here's the thing, I mean, you're talking about Ukraine. Number one, they're at fucking war with Russia. There's going to be fucking deaths. Whether or not we
Yeah.
provide them with aid or not, they're going to fucking die. It's fucking battle. Ask any fucking soldier, that's ever been in a fucking war. It's just casualties are casualties. It's going to happen, regardless of us.
Yep.
You know, but to,
Well, ask yourself this question: the aid that was given was for um, a lot to do with military and protection. And in the last 12 years, do you know whose administration actually sent those people weapons, i.e., javelins,
yeah, that would be Donald
i.e.,
J. Trump.
tanks? Exactly. Do you know what Obama gave him the full throughout the 8 years of his administration?
Jack shit, nothing but hopes and dreams.
Oh no, he gave him something. He gave him MREs and pillows.
Like I said,
How the
hopes
hell?
and dreams.
How the hell are you supposed to fight an enemy with food and
Now, I will
pillows?
say this: you cannot fight an enemy on an empty stomach.
That's true. That's true. That's true. But compare that to military might, i.e., javelins, which are some mean mofo's, man. I mean, I've seen many of them being used, and those things ain't no joke. Those will stop a freaking tank in a heartbeat. But to hear the Democrats spew their ideology, it just, I mean, I'm like, they have totally lost it. I mean,
Well, I mean, the whole party has gone batshit crazy, and it's not just here in the United States. I mean, look at the United Kingdom today. You know, the conservatives just kicked the shit out of fucking labor. You know.
did you see those massive
Oh yeah,
protests?
that shit was funny to watch. Bunch of goddamn crybabies.
Yeah, no kidding. Remind you of remind you of us.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. But yeah, I mean, this whole impeachment, it's a waste of time too, because there's no way in hell the Senate's going to convict.
Well, that's another point that's starting to piss me off because I'm starting to hear Mitch McConnell talk. I'm starting to hear the way Lindsey Graham's talking, and it's like they're just going to bring it up and vote it down, and then time goes by and everybody forgets. No, I want motherfuckers hauled up in front of the panel, and I want Schiff to explain why he did what he did. I want the Democrats who've had a part in this to explain why they've done what they've done under oath.
Well, here's the problem with that. Um, Republicans are not going to uncover the deep state. Okay, because yes, they're supporting Trump right now, but these are the same guys that, when we did have control of all three branches, didn't want to work with Trump. You know, nothing really was getting accomplished with him, you know, because the problem is both parties, the Republicans and the Democrats, especially the ones that have been in there for so long doing the jobs, they can't stand Trump because he's anti-establishment. Trump does not give a fuck about either party. He cares about America and Americans. Period.
That's very
You know.
true. I mean, but see, there's one thing different now than back then, and his endorsement means a hell of a lot
Oh yeah,
now.
yeah, because he has shown.
It didn't back then because it hadn't proved itself to be true yet. But I think he has a lot. He carries a lot more weight now with Republicans and even never Trumpers that are still in the Senate or in the House. I mean that even when they voted on it today, that half-ass freaking vote they had, I noticed that all 17 Republicans that were in there voted it down.
Oh yeah,
We didn't have any dissenters,
no,
or at least the Republicans
no,
didn't.
because they're not stupid because they know coming up for reelection in 2020, if they go against
Hell
Trump, they're shooting themselves in the damn foot because America loves Trump. The people love Trump. The majority love Trump, and there's a vast silent majority that we don't hear about, we don't hear from because they don't want to deal with the bullshit of being called a racist or a bigot because you support the president. So they keep their mouth shut. But
yeah,
but come 2020, they're going to come out, and the Republicans know this. There's Democrats that know this too. I mean, those states that Trump won, that the Democrats, got as far as Congress, they know if they come out against him that they're not going to get fucking reelected. When they run their primaries, so there's going to be some Democrats on the Senate that are going to be like, yeah, no, we're not. We're voting
yeah.
against, him being, convicted.
Well, there are districts that Trump took and won. They know. They know the writing's on the wall. But that's another people are going to have to understand, especially on the more conservative party line, that this election that's coming up is going to be like no other that we've probably ever had to date, because now you have the real threat of violence if you show any type of support for anything Trump related or Donald
Right.
Trump.
I mean, you can see that, when people are leaving the fucking rallies and going to their damn cars.
Yep. So, I mean, when you go to polls this season, I would go with a friend. At least their strength in numbers.
That or carry your concealed carry.
That too. Well, I mean, you can't go in the polls with yourself armed. So
Well, you can't show that you're armed.
no, 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 not at all. But but yeah, I mean, to get back to impeachment, just I saw all the testimony, I heard all the witnesses, and at the end of the day, Trump didn't nowhere close to what a previous sitting vice president did to that country. I mean, hell, the Obama administration, and Biden's included in that, set up the infrastructure for the whole Ukraine shell corporation we'll talk of. I mean, I think we've both seen the Blazes breakdown of how the anti-corruption organization came to be, who set it up, the players, and really broke it down. That they set up basically a Ponzi scheme. So when the U.S. would donate billions and billions of foreign aid, that would be recycled back to our own politicians through, I don't know, foundations or through contracting firms that they already had set up there before the aid was even given. I mean, it's freaking unreal. I mean, to say when they say Ukraine was corrupt, they ain't lying. And to know it was our own government
Oh
doing it.
yeah, I mean they've been supporting that, since when Obama. I mean, we look at this whole thing with Hunter Biden and fucking Joe Biden. I
Yeah,
mean, there's the real corruption. That's what
yeah.
really needs to be.
That was, and that brings me to another point. As I was listening to some of the proceedings, this was near the end of, I believe, Monday or Tuesday, and they were getting ready to close out the session, and the subject of Hunter Biden came up, and they said, "No, we're going to table that." They wouldn't even bring it up. Unreal.
Right now, I'm gonna just do some of the damn highlights. I don't know if you follow that Matt Getz man, but I totally loved him during the whole damn thing.
Oh, Matt.
I'm gonna play a clip right now with Matt.
Hertz called the Prescott Police Department, and officers filed a narcotics offense report listing items seized in the car, including a plastic bag containing white powdery substance, a Secret Service business card, credit cards, and Hunter Biden's driver's license. That is what we would call evidence. I don't want to make light of anybody's substance abuse issues. I know the president's working real hard to solve those throughout the country, but it's a little hard to believe that Burisma hired Hunter Biden to resolve their international disputes when he could not resolve his own dispute with Hertz rental car over leaving cocaine and a crack pipe in the car.
Cocaine and crack.
Pot calling the kettle black is not something that we should do.
I can't stand this fucking Hank Johnson.
Oh, is he the one from Georgia?
If any,
Yeah.
have had any
Oh, my word.
substance abuse, been busted.
I'd rather watch paint dry.
DUI. I don't know, but if I did, I wouldn't raise it against anyone on this committee. I don't think it's proper, and I think we got to get back down to what is most important here. This is a question that stands out like a big throbbing sore toe.
A big throbbing sore toe. What a punk ass little bitch.
Oh, shoot. He compared to what Trump's intimidation to the prime minister of Ukraine as the guy was scared, but like his daughter was
Duct tape in the basement. Yeah, I mean, like, really, dude, what the fuck, man? Get your head out your ass.
Where the hell are you up at? Uh, and oh, did you know that the former what Solomon was? He was the what position did he hold? The ambassador. The former ambassador of Ukraine, the short-haired woman that got fired.
Oh, yeah, the one that got butt hurt because she got fired?
Yeah. Do you know that she was, this was during the Obama administration, that before she went over there, she was briefed on Burisma and Hunter Biden. Why? Were those instructions of certain people not to look into?
Well, not only that, but Joe Biden is on the media, the stage, stating that, hey, if you don't fire this prosecutor who's investigating Burisma and my son, I'm going to withhold the billions of dollars we're supposed to be giving you.
Yep, the foreign aid.
The foreign aid. And guess what? They fired him. That is 100% substantial proof that.
Well, you know what that's called, right?
Yeah. It's fucking goddamn, what do you call it?
Quid
pro quo.
That is quid pro quo.
And they act like it. No, that's not it. That didn't really happen.
That's the projection game that the Saul Alinsky playbook. I'm gonna accuse you of said crime before you can accuse me.
It's fucking. It's fucking. This is how I feel about the Democrats.
I hate you all so much.
And they're pissed off because Trump.
Winning.
You know, I mean, they just can't stand to see us fucking winning.
But see, they wanted us to respect the previous administration, both terms, and not say a word. But and we did. A lot of people sat back. I sat back. I didn't vote for Obama, but I I said, the candidate I voted for when he ran didn't win. Whether that was by hook or by crook, they didn't win.
The
But
only thing we did regarding Obama that maybe crossed the line was that whole fucking birther movement that maybe went a little too far.
but a lot of that's been proven true, though.
Yeah, I know, but again, we're talking about Democrats. The one thing we can learn that we should automatically know about Democrats is whatever they're accusing you of, they're doing.
Yes, they're doing,
You
and
know,
lots of it.
lots of it.
Oh, and then the whole the other report that came out this week was, and I'm sure a lot of people weren't paying attention because they were doing this whole impeachment deal right slap in the middle of when it came out. So everybody's watching the impeachment, but they're not watching the IG report that just came out by Horowitz.
Oh yeah.
And if you weren't paying attention or you didn't see it, guess what? There were agents within the FBI that changed evidence, changed emails so that they could get a FISA application.
Yeah, but
And
from what I understand, FISA was really only supposed to be used against fucking terrorists. In fucking terrorist cells.
it's a tool of the government so that they can go look for bad actors without the bad actors knowing. That's what it was supposed to be used for. It was not supposed to be used to have opposition research used to fool the FISA court
To get a FISA warrant so that they could spy on a candidate, well, then candidate, started out candidate, but now duly elected president.
And if
And
people don't
if
know
people
the
don't know
names,
the names, they need to.
a lot of people just
A
don't
lot of
know
people
what's
just
going
don't
on.
know
They
what's
don't
going
know
on. They don't know
who's where, who's
who's
doing
where,
what.
who's doing
They don't
what.
know the
Like
name
they don't know the
Andy
name Andy
McCabe.
McCabe. They
They
don't
don't know
know the
Carter
name
Page. They
Carter
don't
Page.
know
They don't know
a
um,
lot of
a
the
lot of the
actors within the
actors within the FBI DOJ.
Bill Precept.
Bill Precept, that's another
People
name.
should know these
People
names
should know these names because these were the people that did the dirty deeds.
and to think that it
And
doesn't
to
go
think that
all
it
the way
doesn't
to the
go all the
top
way
of
to
the
the
White House,
top of the
you're
White
fooling
House,
yourself.
you're fooling yourself.
By the time it's said
By
and
the
done,
time it's said and done, if things come out, Obama will be known as the most traitorous president the United States has ever had.
Yeah, I mean, he did a lot of shady shit. My biggest thing was, what happened with, fucking Benghazi under his watch, Fast and Furious, the, number of fucking drone
Not,
strikes, that
I would say not to
I was
mention
going
the
to say,
drone
not to
strikes.
mention the drone
killed,
strikes.
hundreds of innocent men, women, and children. You
And
know,
he didn't care.
And he
and he
didn't
didn't give a
care.
fuck. He still doesn't give a fuck.
Where was the hope and
Where
change
was
for
the
those
hope and
people?
change for those people? Guess what? They never got it.
Not to mention the divide, that he caused in this damn country that we're still paying for to this very day.
Oh, did you
Oh,
did you see the
did
report
you see the report where on what Eric Holder just came
Oh
out and
yeah, about
said?
Barr.
being unfit?
Being unfit? Really?
Fast and
Mr.
Furious
Fast and
is going to say
Furious
some shit
is going to
like
say
that.
some shit like that?
Fucking balls, man. God fucking balls.
Well, I mean, I've even heard
Well, I
a
mean,
take
I've even heard
of
a take
Fast and
of
Furious
Fast and Furious that not a lot of people
talk about
talk about or
associate with. And what people
associate
don't
with. And
know
what people, if
Fast
people
and
don't know
Furious
what Fast and Furious
that
is,
was
that
inspired
was an attempt by our government to log the serial numbers of arms and sell that through the cartels, and i.e. being able to trace where those weapons were going to make future arrests. And so what happened is I think they floated a lot of those weapons to our inner city rather than the cartel. Because what's the most common rifle or firearm that's used in inner city crime?
I would say the fucking the handgun.
Well, statistics would show it's the AK-47.
Well, I mean, it is a
That
reliable piece of
that's
hardware.
the most. Then that's the most common. That was the most bulk weapon that was sold in Fast and Furious. And that's another way to break up the family unit within the inner city. So I mean, it goes further and further and further, but I mean that kind of deviates from. But anyway, I mean, I was saying how what that's what I don't understand how Holder has a leg to stand on to say Barr is unfit. I mean, someone that totally dismantled um, the department that he was a part of. It's unreal, unreal.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
But now you have the we were talking about you have the clip of Cruz's verbal lambasting of
Oh,
Horowitz, don't you?
oh shit! I was thinking Lindsey Graham. Let's see, Ted Cruz.
But hey, do you know that they wouldn't? Somebody wouldn't air his opening statement. I think it was one of the big. I think it was CNN or something would not air Lindsey Graham's opening statement for that IG
Well, I mean, there's
report.
no surprise there. I mean, CNN is fake news. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
that's fucking useless. But yeah, I've got that pulled up for the Ted Cruz thing. Let me go ahead and switch over to that so that the folks watching can see for themselves.
What's happening? A lawyer at the FBI creates fraudulent evidence, alters an email. That is in turn used as the basis for a sworn statement to the court that the court relies on. Am I stating that accurately?
That's correct. That is what occurred.
Now, you have worked in law enforcement a long time. Is the pattern of a Department of Justice employee altering evidence and submitting fraudulent evidence that ultimately gets submitted to a court, is that commonplace? Is that typical?
I have not seen an alteration of an email end up impacting a court document like this.
In any ordinary circumstance, if a private citizen did this, fabricated evidence, and by the way, what he inserted was not just slightly wrong, it was 180 degrees opposite what the evidence said. So the intelligence agency said this guy is a source, and he inserted this guy is not a source. If a private citizen did that in any law enforcement investigation, if they fabricated evidence and reversed what it said, in your experience, would that private citizen be prosecuted for fabricating evidence, be prosecuted for obstruction of justice, be prosecuted for perjury?
They certainly would be considered for that if there was an intentional effort to deceive the court. On this, I'm going to defer because, as we noted here in the sentence you indicated, we referred that over to the Attorney General and the FBI Director for handling.
Third major omission that the Department of Justice and the FBI did not tell the court is that this entire operation was funded by the DNC, was funded by the Hillary Clinton campaign and by Democrats. It was an Oppo research dump. Look, at some level, this is the most effective Oppo research dump in history because the Department of Justice and FBI were perfectly happy to be hatchet men for this Oppo research dump. Now, throughout every one of the filings, DOJ and the FBI didn't inform the FISA court that this was being paid for by the DNC and the Hillary Clinton campaign. Is that right?
That's not in any of the FISA applications.
So they didn't tell the court that. And it's not like DOJ didn't know. Indeed, one of the senior Department of Justice officials, Bruce Orr, his wife worked at Fusion GPS, the Oppo research company being paid by the DNC. And he became the principal liaison with Steele without telling anyone at the Department of Justice that he was essentially working on behalf of the Clinton campaign. Who at the Department of Justice was, and by the way, several Democrats, it's interesting seeing Democratic senators wanting to defend this abuse of power. Several senators, Senator Feinstein said, I wrote this down, the FBI didn't place spies in the Trump campaign. Senator Leahy said something similar. Well, that may be true, not spies in the Trump campaign, but reading from your report, in particular page 4 of the executive summary,
Listen to what
your report says thereafter the Crossfire Hurricane team used the intrusive techniques, including confidential human sources, to interact and consensually record multiple conversations with Page and Papadopoulos, both before and after they were working for the Trump campaign, as well as on one occasion with a high-level Trump campaign official who was not the subject of the investigation. So they didn't place spies in the campaign, but they sent spies to record senior members of the campaign in the middle of a presidential campaign when that candidate was the nominee for the other major party that was the opposing party to the one in power. Is that right?
They send confidential human sources in to do those.
Why can't you just say yes?
Did anyone at DOJ, who at DOJ knew about this? Did the Attorney General know about this? Did the White House know about
Hell
this?
yeah, they know about this.
Based on what we found, nobody had been told in advance.
But once
Nobody
it was
knew
happening,
about it.
did they know?
They did not. The only evidence that
said
somebody
nobody knew.
were the line attorneys in NSD, in the National Security Division, when they were told very selective portions of what had occurred. Nobody knew beforehand. Nobody had been briefed, and frankly, that was one of the most concerning things here, is that nobody needed to be told.
And I can tell you from my time at the Department of Justice and from my time in law enforcement, any responsible leader, when hearing that you're talking about sending in spies and sending in a wiretap on any presidential nominee, should say, what in the hell are we doing? And by the way, the people up the chain who are saying we didn't know, if you had responsible leadership, there's no more important decision than you make. I can tell you, when I was at DOJ, if someone said, let's tap Hillary Clinton, or let's tap Bill Clinton or John Kerry, the people there would have said, what in the hell are you talking about? What was going on here? This wasn't Jason Bourne. This was Bill Clinton.
That was pretty good.
So, I mean, to break that down, I mean, what
If you have an
basically,
old slow computer,
in a nutshell, what happened was Bruce Orr was working with his wife, Nellie Orr, which worked for Fusion GPS, which concocted the Steele dossier, which got pushed to the FBI. Then the FBI changed an email that was sent to the FISA court to fool them into thinking it was legit so that they could get a warrant to send in FBI agents, unbeknownst to the Trump campaign, to fucking spy on his ass. And there's something legal about that shit?
No, there's
I mean, stop me if I'm wrong. I mean, I would say so. And how some of these motherfuckers are not in fucking handcuffs right now. I don't understand. I mean, there is a little known rule about political officials as far as congressmen, senators. As long as they are in session, they cannot be arrested.
that's fucked up.
Yeah, you have to wait till they're off session, or that's what it says. And I guess those who make the rules win the game.
You're fired.
That's what they need to be doing right there.
That's what he needs. He needs to do a White House apprentice and haul them motherfuckers up there and say, you're fired. You're fired. You're all fucking fired.
And then after that, it needs to be
No, that's too good for them, man. They need to be hauled off and sit in jail until they fucking die. Never to see freedom ever again.
I don't know. I'm all for this.
See,
Hacking
that's
those
too quick.
motherfuckers
That's
up.
too
Yeah.
quick.
Now you start with the ankles and then you work your way up.
Well, the reason I say that's too quick and that's too easy for them is because the years and years of money that they've made and lives that they've destroyed, the Arkancides that have happened. I mean, these people need to be hauled up in front of a fair and balanced court and tried for their
And that's the thing,
crimes.
yeah, fair and balanced court, but they've been saying since day one. Actually before he took office, he got sworn in
Right,
at what fucking 12, 12 p.m. fucking what is it, January, what day?
uh
The was
when
it
he got inaugurated, when the
right? He got sworn
inauguration.
in at noon. At
I
12:05, they were saying we're going to impeach this ass. We're going to impeach his ass.
Oh yeah, they were saying it during when he was a candidate. They were saying it. He wins office, and we're going to impeach him.
And but yet you've got fuckers like Paul Manafort, fucking Roger Stone, these guys that helped get Trump elected. They're fucking now being convicted and being sent to fucking prison. For supposed crimes. Meanwhile, the people that actually did commit fucking crimes, that did break the law, they're getting away fucking
Right,
scot free. And these are people that are actually in fucking government, not people working a campaign. That were paid to fucking
right,
campaign, but actual motherfuckers that are writing and passing laws in this fucking country. I mean that.
well,
That
two-tier
motherfucker
justice system.
Green from Texas, is saying, if this doesn't go through, we'll impeach him on something
Yeah,
else. You know,
right. We'll do
they
this
will
again.
continue to do this shit until they get their fucking way.
And like Trump stated, his one of his last rallies is we need to take back
Yeah,
the House.
it's so damn important. And then when we get the fucking house back, these goddamn motherfuckers that didn't work with him the first time around need to fucking kiss his
Yeah,
ass and get shit done this time.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Get back to the business of taking care of the country rather than a hoax, a wild herring, just because you don't agree with an election that was 3 years
But
ago.
I really hope that, when this is all said and done, people fucking wake up and kick fucking AOC to the curb. That fucking Talib, whatever her fucking name is, goddamn Ilhan Omar, this fucking squad, this fucking,
Mhm.
leftist squad, they need to kick to the fucking curb. They need to send motherfuckers like goddamn Schiff home and fucking Green and that other fucking douchebag, goddamn Nadler. Get these motherfuckers out of Congress. They have no damn business representing the goddamn people because they're not representing the people.
Well, just get Democrats out of the majority of the House. I mean, that's what the problem is. That's what the
Look,
problem right
they need
now
to get
is.
motherfuckers
Is
out for good, like fucking Pelosi, goddamn. They need to be gone. They have no business being in fucking government. They've been robbing and fucking pillaging the entire time. It needs to fucking stop.
well, see, that's a problem with what I think may happen with the impeachment is if 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 the
How's that? Is that better?
Republicans in the Senate if the Republicans in the Senate were smart, they would drag this thing out because there's so many benefits for doing that. One, you get to haul people up and people have to testify. Two, if one of those people is a Democratic candidate running for the office of president, guess what they can't do during these proceedings? They can't run for office. They can't campaign. They have to stay in Washington. That's another reason why the Democrats are trying to rush this damn thing through. Because you did have candidates like Kamala Harris, um, but I think there's still a few people that are. I think it's you can't campaign if you're part of the investigation or you had something to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that.
I think that's what the law states. So that means that if they do this right, they could discover what Biden and the Biden family did. Guess what he can't do? He can't campaign. He can't campaign. So I mean, but what I think will happen is they'll bring it up, they'll vote it down, and then they'll keep going business as
Oh yeah,
usual.
definitely. I mean, you know,
And people don't get held accountable for the misdeeds and the bullshit that they've caused people for bringing this damn impeachment and wasting taxpayer money. I mean, it's unreal. They have wasted all of our time and all of the taxpayer money.
it just, you know, I mean, it blows my mind because I mean, if you look at the goddamn facts, I mean, shit is running better now than it has in a long time. You know, we're finally
You
ahead
can't
of the
look at
goddamn
facts.
curve.
Don't look at facts because that says how things really are, not how you think or you want them to be, and you're going to throw a fit if it's not that way.
I'm just ready for Boogaloo 2020.
But I like sitting in my house with my electricity and my heating and cooling and all the comforts of what we have in today's society. I mean, when Boogaloo happens, all that stuff goes away. I mean, there's going to definitely be some sacrifices that will have to be made.
Yeah, it's just gonna be one big goddamn fucking car crash.
Let's just pray that it never comes to that. I mean, I don't know. I've been in a war environment. It's not what is glorified on the movies. I mean, it's truly is fucking hell. And I mean,
Oh, I mean, hell,
I
I
don't
can't
wish.
even fucking imagine. I wouldn't want to imagine. I would.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I might last a day.
No, I mean, people have. I mean, you have a definite um, desire to survive, and a lot of times, I mean, that's what it takes is the will of I'm not going to let this overcome me, whatever that is, and is you learn to survive.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm too out of shape to goddamn go running and charging. You know,
Well, that's why you don't bug
you
out, you
know,
bug in.
and I'm pretty good with a handgun, but I'm not that good with a rifle as far as accuracy.
Hmm.
So I don't get me wrong. I mean, I'll give it a good effort.
I've started looking. I've started looking into some of the practical shooting
I'd be really
stuff that they
good with
have
like
around,
missiles and bombs.
just to kind of. uh, but I mean, go out and train a little bit with the weapons that you have on hand. Make sure that you know how to use them. That whatever you aim to disable or kill, that you do
Like I
that.
said, I'm real good with my handgun. I like that. Uh,
Yeah.
I still need a lot of practice with my rifle.
Well, that's why you always have a shotgun on hand too, so because all you have to
Oh
do is
yeah,
spray with that.
you got a problem over here? You just turn over here. Problem solved.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But I don't know, man. I just I want this thing drawn out in the
Oh
Senate.
yeah, I mean, I would love
I'm
for
probably
them to bring
different
everybody,
than a
all the
lot of people.
players on stage, and bring all that shit to light. But yeah, I think the Republicans, the ones that are in charge of this shit, just want to get it over and done with because, I mean, let's be honest, man. I mean, we got shady people on both sides of the aisle. I
Without a
mean,
doubt, without
you
a
go
doubt.
you go pulling out the shit of somebody else, they gonna turn around. Your shit's gonna get pulled out, and they don't want that shit. They don't want the American people to know just how corrupt and deep this shit goes. You know?
Well, I think even Lindsey Graham has
Oh fuck yeah!
dealings in Ukraine.
Look, these people are public servants, and look at the wealth that they've acquired. You don't get that from your fucking
How are
salary.
they public
You know?
servants? They don't. I don't know the last time they've served the
Exactly.
public.
But what I'm saying, the
So to
money
call
that
them
they've
public servants
acquired,
is a fart.
they didn't get that from their fucking salary and get that damn 3% raise every fucking year. They've got that shit. They
No,
got
and
that
that free
shit from
health
fucking
care
under
for
the
life.
table, goddamn lobbyists, fucking corporations. They're getting fucking paid.
Yep.
That's what pisses me off. Everybody's like, well, Trump's using the presidency to make money. No, he's not. He's not getting fucking paid. He's giving his
He's
fucking
giving it
salary
away.
away. Now, granted, yes, his other holdings and other businesses are still making him money, but the motherfucker's still got to make a goddamn living. But he's not running those.
But he's
Exactly.
not running those. He handed
His
that over
kids.
to his kids. Exactly. I mean, and that's the one thing that the left tries to throw up, the emolument clause. The emolument clause.
They think they can
I
impeach
just.
him on that.
But see, the only thing they could come up with is obstruction and abuse of power. That is so freaking vague. If you had something concrete, like they promised they did, you would not have needed to draw up the articles that vague. You just would. I mean, you would have blaring evidence,
Yeah, well, I mean,
and
they
they don't
never
have
have
it.
shit. They've never had shit. They're never going to have shit. I mean, he's like the fucking Teflon Don. You know.
When I was watching the vote this morning, I was like, the Democrats have finally signed their own demise with this because they have done nothing but turn people off to impeachment, push people that didn't like Trump before into sympathizing with him, i.e., gain more support. So, I mean, they can't get out of their own way right now.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, I'm fucking Democrats, man.
You are one pathetic loser.
I mean, that's the
Yep.
party right there. You know, as far as I'm concerned,
Go to hell.
they can all go to hell.
Yep. But it's just, the political charade, the political circus. I think there was a poll I was listening on to the radio today that said the impeachment is actually affecting people's outlook on the holidays. I think I'm not sure how many people they polled, but it was like 30 to 40% of people they polled said that the impeachment was so traumatic that it just affected their outlook on the Christmas holiday. I'm like, really? I think it's a joke, but
If anybody thought that this impeachment hearing was fucking traumatic, they're full of shit. It's just like the goddamn Democrats the whole time. This is a very solemn time. This is very sad. We hate that we have bullshit. You've been saying since day one you're gonna do this shit. You're fucking rock hard and you goddamn dripping wet from excitement for having to do this shit. Fuck off. You're not fooling any goddamn body.
and not to mention the new keyword now is dictator, because that's what they were trying to make Trump out to be, either a king, because they kept mentioning they were trying to stop Trump from being a dictator or a
Well, you know
king,
what?
and I'm
If
like,
the
really?
motherfucker's gonna run the country as good as he's doing, then fuck yeah, let him be the goddamn king. You know, I'm all for a third fucking
Well, I
term.
mean, I was listening to Mark Levin the other day, and he said back when Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson and they were president, they were throwing motherfuckers in jail, like press in jail. So for them to say that Trump thinks that he's a dictator or a king, and he's done none of that, he's done nothing but let them run
And
their
run their
freaking
fucking
charade.
mouths and be goddamn
I mean, come on.
disrespectful. I mean, look at that motherfucker that CNN did. What was his name that used to give him all the shit during the goddamn press conferences? Fucking, yeah, Jim Acosta.
Jim Acosta.
You know, you think Obama would have ever tolerated that shit from a goddamn reporter?
Oh, he didn't. He threw that black
I'm
reporter
saying.
out. It's just the hypocrisy, man. Hypocrisy. God, the elections can't come soon enough, because then that's when the boogaloo may happen.
Well, yeah, because I mean, think about it. It'll be
To
scary
be
as
honest,
fuck. I mean, if by some fucking freak accident the goddamn Dems did gain control of the presidency, the House, and the fucking Senate. Look what's going on in Virginia right now. You know, that whole state went blue. You know.
but there's a big push for the
Oh
Second
yeah,
Amendment there in that state too. There's a
sanctuary
lot of
2A
counties.
cities, and that is fucking amazing and awesome. But
Yeah,
this is what trips me out. You know, we've got these damn 2A sanctuary cities in Virginia now that are popping up. And fucking Democrats are coming up, well, if we need to, you know, we'll use the National Guard and to enforce this shit. But yet, it's okay to have these sanctuary cities for goddamn illegal aliens where they won't allow ICE to come in and do their fucking job.
Well, but how many soldiers are going to really follow those orders? I'm not talking about the generals. I'm not talking about the lieutenant colonels, the high brass, the officers. I'm talking about
Oh
your
yeah.
boots. I know that when I was in, and my superior officer would have come up and said, "You're going to go into somebody's house and take away all their weapons." I don't know if I could have done that.
Well, no, because it's an immoral order.
Yeah, it's an unlawful order.
It
Correct.
is. You know, you're going against the Constitution, and you know every soldier that enlists, they have to take that oath to
Right.
uphold the Constitution. It's just like when fucking what's his name, the goddamn governor of Virginia, made the comment about the National Guard. What he fails to realize is that the National Guard is mainly comprised of
Yeah.
fucking police officers,
Blue collar workers.
blue collar workers, and goddamn first responders.
And good old country
And
boys.
good old country boys. They're not going to go against that shit. They're going to
No.
be like, "Fuck you,"
A
and they're
lot of
going
them
to.
a lot of them are going to have to go into their own towns to people they grew up with that they know and disarm them. It's just not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. You know, I mean, it's fucking crazy to even think that they could do that. You know, nobody's going to follow it. I'll tell you, I don't know that I can't remember the dude's name, but that fucking sheriff that said, "I will deputize every motherfucker in my goddamn
Yeah.
county."
I
That's
forget
what
where
I'm
it's
talking
at.
about.
But see, that's where we should be taking a cue from them and looking into our own counties where we're at and say, how do we get our counties to go sanctuary 2A?
Well, that's what we need to start doing in North Carolina, man. Because I'll be honest, North Carolina, I'm worried about when it comes to the goddamn 2020.
Right,
It was
right.
such a damn close race, in 2016, that if fucking North Carolina goes blue, man, what the fuck?
But see, Virginia is acting after the fact now. This is where we need to be acting before something does happen. So something's already on the books.
Word.
Yep, yep.
All right, I'm gonna play this little thing that Sarah Sanders did because I always liked her. I always thought she was a great goddamn press secretary.
Yes, I liked her too.
I'm gonna play this little bit here where she's talking about the Dems abusing their power. Let me get this to damn skip. I want to bring in now. And go switch over to this. And while that's playing, I'm going to run and grab me another beer because I'm not yet sloppy enough.
Yep, I'm going to grab me another claw, baby.
See you. Thanks for doing the program today. The White House and the Senate debate impeachment strategy. I want to talk about it from the perspective of the GOP now. What needs to happen next in terms of how they handle this?
Look, I think this whole thing has been a huge waste of time from the beginning. What happened today was predictable, and I think it's a disgrace to members of Congress across the board. Nancy Pelosi made it clear in her remarks yesterday, this is something they've been working on for 2.5 years. This was something they've had planned all along. They don't like this president. They don't like that he continues to deliver on everything he said he was going to do. And they're looking for every way they can to take him down. I think it is a terrible thing for the country that they have used the impeachment tool and process, something that should be held for really big things to protect the presidency. And what they've done, if anyone is abusing power, it's the members of the House Democrats who are abusing this power and using impeachment as a political tool instead of what it is meant to be. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to matter. The president is going to go to the Senate. He'll be vindicated there, and he can get back to doing the work of the American people, get back to doing all the things that he's been doing. Just look at this week alone. While the Democrats were wasting their time, the president has delivered on USMCA, a major trade deal. This morning, he announced another historic trade deal that has been reached with China. Not only that, he signed on an executive order on anti-Semitism. He's also held a huge summit with his daughter Ivanka on paid family leave. And that's just this week alone. The president's continuing to deliver, and I think we're going to go to the Senate. This thing's
He's
going to
making
go away,
America
and get
great.
back to doing the work of the people.
You know, I'm wondering if there's some room, though, to do some bipartisan work, too, and if the Democrats would want Republicans to come to the table. The prescription drug cost cutting plan that was brought forth. Do you see this sort of trend continuing, and can there be some bipartisanship with the White House on issues like that?
I think that's a question for the Democrats. The president and the White House have been willing to work with Democrats since he first came into office. He has tried on a number of occasions to engage them on important issues, but they've been so unwilling to do anything that makes the president look good and show cooperation because they've been so singularly focused on taking him down.
I want to just quickly hear right now from Michigan Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin, one of the several Democrats from battleground districts who are still, they say, undecided on impeachment. Let's watch and I'll get your reaction.
Sometimes you have to make calls that aren't based on a poll or on some political consultant. And if this is the end of my political career, at least I'm doing what I think is right, and I'm basing my decisions on integrity. That is the most I can do.
So what do you say when you hear that?
I think if that is really what the Congresswoman is doing, is basing this vote off of integrity and on doing what's right, then she won't support this impeachment process. I think if she's really looking at doing what's right, I mean, let's not forget, Harris, they spent weeks trying to figure out exactly what they could impeach the president on. They never had anything. They kept trying to decide, and they poll tested what they thought would work best. When they got nothing from that, they came up with this ridiculous abuse of power and obstruction of
Congress.
Congress.
How do you know they poll tested it?
I mean, that's what's been reported widely, that they've poll tested specific names and words. I certainly know that the news reports are not always accurate, so I reserve the right for that not to be correct. But it seems like that has been widely reported and accepted, and no one's really pushed back on the fact that they've done that.
I want to ask you about something Stephanie Grisham, who, when you departed, she stepped in and took role of the White House press secretary, told me this week, and she said she and the White House are surprised that the articles of impeachment was not a longer list, like 4 or 5 of them, that there were only 2. What is your reaction to that?
I think she's exactly right, because they've spent so much time trying to figure out how they could attack the president. They made it sound like they had all of these things come together, when in reality they had nothing. All of the witnesses
They didn't have jack shit.
Anything, because nothing took place. At the end of the day, the president did nothing wrong, and they are grasping at straws on trying to figure out how they can impeach him. It's exactly like Nancy Pelosi said last night. They've been working on this for 2.5 years. She made that loud and clear that this had nothing to do with the Ukraine.
Our viewer, Christopher Lewis, has nailed it on the head. Nancy Pelosi needs to eat a bag of dildos and get off Trump's ballsack.
The American people are smarter and better than that, and I think that's why you're seeing such a shift in the polls in the president's favor.
And what I heard the speaker say was that the Mueller investigation started 2.5 years ago. We'll move on. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he's working closely with the White House. In fact, he says there's really, the White House lawyers, there's no daylight between them. Is there more of a strategy now headed into the Senate than there was perhaps early on when the president and the White House were taking some criticism for not having a singular strategy among Republicans in a war room?
I think they're working very closely together. I'll let the White House speak to specific strategies. I think it's a good thing that there is cooperation between the White House and the Senate. What I'd like to see is a quick process in the Senate. I know some people want to drag this out and make the case. Look, frankly, because I think it's a huge waste of time. I think if we can get this over with and be done with it, nothing was done wrong. I think we saw all of that play out in the House process.
So why do some Republicans say that they want, they want to be able to call witnesses and maybe even draw it out so that it looks like they've done everything that they can do?
And I'm not saying that's necessarily a wrong thing, because they want to see and make the case for the president. They want to call some of these witnesses up, and that's one strategy. I just think they're better off moving on and getting back to the business that people actually care about. Look, the president is delivering. I think he should continue to be able to do that and focus solely on helping the American people, continuing to grow the economy, continuing to make great trade deals, and that's what I'd like to see him and all of Congress be able to spend all of their time focused on. Not another ridiculous witch hunt that we have wasted so much time on over the last 2.5 years.
Look, the president from the White House today said it's been a wild week. I have said this time and time again. USMCA and China trade, wait until it happens. And those things are happening now, phase one of China. Any other time, those would have been the top lines, if you will, of all the news this week. We are covering it here at Fox. Just wanted to
Hell yeah!
Those are some big nuggets of news. Sarah Sanders, great to have you on the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Harris. Always good to be with you.
I always liked her. I always thought she did a very good job as press secretary.
I like her. I don't like the fact that she made the comment of moving on, because I think by doing that, you're not holding people accountable for their actions.
No, I agree with you there, but I mean,
I understand why she said it. But sometimes you just got to say enough is enough. I mean, if you don't put a stop to it now, you're never going to. People need to be made examples
I agree
of.
with you 100%. And for those of you that are watching, if you want to call in, feel free. The number is 336-484-1640. That's if you got the balls. If you don't have the you sit there behind your little computer screen and type away. We don't give a shit. Don't matter. The only one caveat is you got to have a fucking drink.
That's right. They don't want to fuck around and find out.
But yeah, I mean, one thing's for sure, man. If we're going to take this shit back in 2020, conservatives have got to get more involved, man. They've got to get out there and fucking vote. Not just on the fucking damn national level, but on the goddamn local level too, because that's the only way we're going to change shit.
And even if it's names that you don't like, as long as it's somebody on the right side or the Republican side, I mean, vote, because people had that same mentality during the midterms, and now you have the Democrats that are running the House.
That's why I think it's cool as fuck that, Enrique Tarrio, man, is fucking running for Congress for his fucking district, man.
For that.
Huh? What's that?
I said I applaud him for that.
Oh, fuck yeah, man, because, he's backing up what he's fucking saying and preaching, man. So, we need more people to fucking do that.
But look at what he's already had to go through as far as being bashed on social media, called a racist, called a Nazi, what have you. And he can't just run for office. No, he's got to have.
But because Cubans are known for being fucking Nazis.
Well, yeah, just the
The amount of attacks just on his Twitter account alone just amazed me. I don't know how he does it.
Well, I
I'd be
tell you
ready
what, though, I mean,
to find
there
somebody.
is hope though, because I did a video a couple of days ago. Didn't get many views though, but I forget the gentleman's name. But they were throwing an America First bash in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and Enrique went, and the gentleman um, who was running for Congress for his district in Hershey, Pennsylvania, was like,
Right,
you're inviting a known white supremacist to your thing, and he was like, no, 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 no. This is a good man. This is a person of color. This is a guy that I respect. I don't care, what his affiliations are. This is a good person. He's one of the few Republicans, conservatives that I've seen that have publicly stood beside you know
Right.
right,
Enrique and what he stands for and what he represents. As far as his club and whatnot. So I just thought, wow, that's just fucking amazing. We need more conservatives to do that. To put their foot down and say, hey, these guys that are out there fighting for us, that are trying to help, the cause and whatnot, they're just patriots. That's it. They're people that love America. Nothing more,
I
nothing
wish
less.
I wish I wish we would see more of them out at various rally events. I mean, just to show that yes, they are accessible. I think that would. I mean, that at least that gives somebody a connection with somebody when they go to vote for
Well,
that person.
I think we're going to start seeing more of that personally. You um, I think individually it happens, one on one, hearts and minds. When you can
Hmm.
talk to people one on one and and explain that, hey, you know, this is what we're about. This is what we represent, and people see that they're
Yeah.
not the devil that the media makes them out to be.
Right.
Right.
Oh, did you hear
Oh,
Sanders
did you
is
hear
coming to North
Sanders is coming
Carolina?
to North Carolina?
Sanders.
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie
Get the fuck,
Sanders.
get the fuck out. Well, again,
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. I went and trolled his last event that he had in Charlotte.
I stood on the
I stood on
outside
the outside
of
of the
the fence
fence
area
area
with
with
about
about
two or
two or
three
three
others, and
others,
we
and we
all
all
waved
waved
Trump
Trump
flags.
flags.
And every time he would
And
bring up
every time he would bring up
healthcare,
health care, I'd yell. I knew he could hear me because I kept looking in our
I'm like,
direction.
Bernie, who's going
I'm
to pay
like,
for
Bernie,
it?
who's going to pay for it?
Who's paying for all this
Who's
free
paying
shit?
for all this free shit?
the American people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, what
But yeah,
what him and Elizabeth Warren want. Every single American could give their entire paycheck up, and it still wouldn't be enough to pay for it.
Oh, you could take
oh, you
all
could
the
take all the
billionaires that are in
billionaires
America,
that are in America,
all of their money in,
all of their money in, and
That's
still
what I'm
wouldn't be
saying.
able
You
to
could
pay
take
for their.
every American citizen in this country, billionaires included, take all their entire fucking paycheck, and it still wouldn't pay for the shit.
I mean, pay for
I
your
mean,
own
pay
damn
for your
health
own
care.
damn health
It's
care.
not up to
It's
me
not
to
up
take
to
care of
me
your
to
ass.
take
I'm
care
not
of your
married to
ass.
you.
I'm not married to you. I don't owe you shit.
Well, I mean, that's a concept that gets pretty hard to grasp sometimes by people. You know,
Well, I mean,
because what they
Well, I
fail to
mean,
realize is in this country, and the great thing about this country is you can be and do whatever the fuck you want. You can achieve whatever success you want as long as you fucking work for it. Ain't nobody gonna give you shit.
right.
So if you want to
right.
sit at home and live off the government, you have that fucking right. You do. But if you want more than that, you're gonna have to get your ass up and fucking do the work and put in the fucking time.
Well, the problem with most of the college students that are coming out, and so I was listening to somebody break down the appeal of the college age kids that are coming out now, and their appeal to, or the appeal of communism to them, and it's they don't have to worry about making it on their own. Where it's solely on them. Either you make it or break it. They're willing to give up a little bit of that freedom to have things
Well, you
taken
know
care
what?
of
If
for
that's
them.
your fucking attitude and that's what you think, don't go to fucking college. Stay at home, live in your goddamn parents' basement, let them take care of you.
But I mean,
But I mean, On the bigger scale, some of them it's not their fault because look at the professors they're being
Well,
indoctrinated
yeah, I
by.
mean, I'll give you that, but I'll also top in this. A lot of schools now have become for-profit institutions. I mean, the cost of a goddamn education, I will admit, has fucking skyrocketed. There's no goddamn reason why college should be as expensive it is now compared to what it was 20, 30 years ago. You know, I mean,
Right.
the fucking inflation has gotten fucking ridiculous. You know, if you could work part time 30 years ago to pay for your education, you should be able to work part time and pay for your goddamn education now. You know,
Right. Well, I will say
it
that
doesn't help though
UNC's have.
if you're going to fucking school to learn fucking Sanskrit and get a goddamn degree in a 2,000-year-old fucking dead language. You got to get a fucking degree that something's going to fucking pay off and help with the fucking country and goddamn make money.
That's right. Can't be no Latin translator.
Fuck.
Oh, wait, but I tell you, old UNC, University of North Carolina's having to take it on the hip. Did you hear about
I didn't
that?
hear about that.
So apparently, there was a judgment that came down between the CSA, Sons of Confederate Association, something like that, and the whole Silent Sam. And they have to give Silent Sam back to that organization, the Confederate organization, and pay them $2.5 million.
Oh shit.
And the Antifa element up in UNC is about to have a fucking cow. I mean, they're going on social media saying if you're thinking about donating to UNC, don't do it. Put your money to uh, one of the activists that's working to stamp out hatred and racism, blah, blah, blah. But I just thought that was like, that's kind of actually cool. It's not actually always being one-sided where you have the liberal institution getting their way all the
Now,
time.
is that the statue that got torn down and pulled down?
That was the one that was on campus. That was just in commemoration of the Confederate soldiers that just fought in the war that went to UNC. It wasn't. I don't. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was an actual person or not. I think I don't. It may have been. I haven't dug into it that much, but history of any kind, I don't think. I mean, if it's been there for 100 plus years, leave it
Oh
there.
no,
Leave
I
it
agree with
alone.
you 100%. I mean, you can't erase history. If you erase history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Exactly
I
right.
mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, the Confederates lost the war. Blah blah blah. Personally, rather than tear the statues down, I would rather see them relocated to an area, that's designed just for them, where people can go and learn about the history and whatnot.
Well, I think even moving it is the wrong move because it reinforces bad behavior. It reinforces that you can pitch a fit and throw a tantrum and you
Oh
get your
no, I
way.
can agree with that.
And the real world's just not like that. People don't give a fuck about your
No,
feelings.
I can agree with that.
I mean, and where does it stop? I mean,
Well,
yeah, you start with Confederate monuments, and then now I'm seeing reports where a very important figure in Georgia, and they're rebuilding after the Civil Wars. They're wanting to take that
well,
statue
here's the
down.
thing. I mean, fucking 20 years ago, nobody gave a shit. Fuckers were walking around with goddamn Confederate flags and fucking hats, and we had statues and shit, and nobody cared because it wasn't a fucking big deal. Everybody kind of fucking understood that was just a fucking past. When did it become a fucking issue? Is what I want to know. It's just like fucking with comedians. Comedians have always been
Well, the
goddamn controversial and pushing the line and shit. But
I'll tell you exactly when it became the tipping point, and that was the whole Dylan Roof thing. And Dylan Roof was the guy who went into the church in South Carolina and shot up some people in the church. And apparently, on his online or on his social media, had displayed of a lot of the Confederate battle flag.
but even then, I mean, what the fuck does it matter? I mean, when I was in high school, we had a guy come to the cafeteria wearing a fucking Klan outfit and a shotgun. Because we had like
Right.
6 black people that went to my high school. And that was in like fucking 19 goddamn shit 89.
Don't tell on yourself. Don't tell on yourself
1989.
now.
You know. And everybody was like, "Who's this fucking dumbass in a goddamn white sheet and a hood?" I mean, really, you're
Right.
coming to fucking school to fucking damn do this shit? We've got 6 black kids at our school, 6 really cool
Well,
black kids on top of that.
when was the last time that you can even remember here recently seeing anybody that's associated with the Klan or the
They don't
KKK?
matter anymore. They're fucking. They're a fucking joke.
They don't ever come out. I mean, it's not as commonplace as the mainstream media would lead you to
I have always
believe.
said that when these motherfuckers get their permits and have their little marches, okay, you're gonna have 15 or 20 douchebags standing in fucking town square. If people just
Yeah.
didn't show up, if they just was like, "Oh fuck these guys," and didn't come, it'd be a goddamn fucking nothing. It would they'd get bored, and go home and fuck their sisters. You know, they do this shit because they know they're gonna get 200-300 people to come out and fucking yell and scream at them and tell them what pieces, and that's what they want. They want people to come out and yell and scream and tell them what pieces of shit they are. So when people do
Right.
that, you're giving them exactly what they crave: attention. If people just wouldn't show up and said, fuck these dumbasses, you'd have 15, 20 people
Hmm.
with a thumb up their ass, and then they get bored and be like, oh, I guess I'm gonna go fuck my sister.
Well, and the stupid ass left thinks, oh, we can't let this stuff spread, so we have to show up and resist. Fucking resist my fucking left nut. I mean, just stay the fuck home. I mean, and let everybody have their First Amendment right, their freedom of speech, their
That's
freedom
the
to
most
assemble.
important fucking thing. It is out of the entire Constitution. That is the most fucking important thing. Is goddamn freedom of speech, and that's why we have the Second
And
Amendment
people
to ensure that the First Amendment is fucking taken care of.
and people don't realize your rights start or stop where another person's begins or ends. People need to respect that, but they don't. They think that hate speech is a certain, is an actual fucking thing these days. I was, hell, I was at work in a training class, and we were talking. We were taking a break, and they, the somehow the subject of hate speech came up, and I said, "There's no such thing," and people looked at me like I had 3 fucking heads. I'm like, what? How does hate speech? There's no such thing because it doesn't exist. Freedom of speech is just that. I mean, I get it. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. You can't incite a riot. I understand that, but freedom of speech just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean that you
Oh,
get to
no,
silence it.
exactly, 100%, man. Oh, I agree with you 100%. And that's why I think it's important that we have it because I want to know the assholes that are saying this shit. I want to know where they're at. So that I can point out to them and say, you see those dumb motherfuckers over there? Stay away from those assholes. If you ban that shit and you force them underground, how do we know where they're at? You know, how can we point them out and say, hey, look at these fucking idiots? You can't.
Why do you think Antifa hides their face?
Exactly. Because they're fucking scared little pussy ass bitches.
They don't want to be held accountable for what they believe.
Right, because, honestly, they have no idea what they believe. They believe what they're told to believe.
Shit, they can't even decide what gender they are. They're gonna. You think they have a valid opinion on anything? They can't make their mind up or shit.
Nope, they can't. Speaking of Antifa, did you see that goddamn meme that was floating around on the internet? I don't know how true it is, or if it's even a real thing. But apparently,
Right.
some Antifa person was at a damn Trump rally, and they got him, demasked him, and then duct taped his ass to like a damn electrical box.
Didn't they put a dildo on his head and call him a unicorn?
Something like that.
Yeah.
That shit was
Now I
funny.
did see the one that was this um, chick that was an eco activist or climate activist, something like that. Tried to block a road with a one of those orange cones, and she was standing in the other lane. And out of nowhere, somebody picked the cone up and threw it at her head and knocked her off, knocked her out from the in front of the vehicle that she was blocking.
Oh,
It's fucking classic.
I do believe I saw that.
That was classic. I'm telling you, man, these people are going to start getting fed up, and people start getting run over, shot, and it's going to be a bad situation.
I mean, it's yeah. I hope that it doesn't come to that because I don't want to see anybody get fucking
Well,
hurt. But
I know if I'm late for
you just
work,
got to learn to agree to disagree. Period. That's what it's all about. You can think and believe whatever the hell you want. I don't care. If that's what you want to go with, fuck you. You got that right. But I have the right to think and believe what I want to think. And if we
right, right.
can't see eye to eye, fine. But we can agree to disagree and just let the shit go and go about our way. You know.
But they won't. They don't want to do that. I'm sorry if you're standing in the road, blocking me while I'm in my car. You're gonna be a speed bump because I ain't gonna be late to work.
But luckily in North Carolina, that's not against the law.
Hey, I mean, you take what you get. That's why you don't see them standing in the road in North
Because
Carolina.
they know they get their ass run over.
That's right.
Burr, burr.
Uh,
Shall not pass!
yeah, as I run ass over.
Yeah.
Get him a body bag!
I tell you, man, these fucking kids today, goddamn.
I'm
But yeah,
telling. Well,
but back to what you said earlier. A lot of this does stem from these fucking extreme liberal fucking professors and shit that are
it's
pumping
just
this shit in these kids' heads. Because it's the first time that they leave home. You know, they're starting a new path. Where they don't have their mom and dad with them. They're completely by themselves. And they think the way they think, and then when they, the first time they go to class and they express what they think, they get humiliated and shot down by these goddamn extreme leftist professors, and then they get fucking, embarrassed and butthurt, and they, oh, I don't want to go through that again. I'm just going to think and, believe what they say so I can fit in.
right.
I'm just going to go with the flow. Because
Well,
anytime you see these motherfuckers, protesting whatever the fuck they're protesting, if you go up to them and you ask them, okay, what do you protest? They can't give you an answer. They don't know why they hate Trump. They don't know why, things. They can't give you any fucking answers. They're just like, well, he's a racist. Okay, why is he a racist? They can't tell you.
they can tell you what they feel.
But they can't tell you any goddamn facts. They can't back any of their shit
No,
up.
they tell you what they feel. Because to them, feelings outweigh facts. And that's just not, it's not the way the real world works. People, the world doesn't give a fuck about your feelings.
No, they do not.
I mean, it should almost be a damn t-shirt.
Actually, I think on my Teespring account, I'm gonna make a shirt like that.
Yep. Well, brother, I think I'm gonna bounce. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
man, we've been running for about an hour and a half. I got one more beer left, and then I got to cut out because tomorrow we're pairing up with the JCs in Winston so that we can help underprivileged kids with their Christmas and hopefully make their Christmas a little brighter this year.
What time is that?
It starts at 8:15.
And that's all right. I may try to make that, but if I don't, it's because it was too damn
Yeah,
early.
we're gonna meet at Yet's at 7:30, and then go from there.
All
So if
right.
you can make it, great. If not, it's cool.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, I guess that's going to be it for the Sloppy Bro Show tonight. I want to thank everybody that tuned in and watched. And as always, I will catch you motherfuckers on the flip side. And peace.
Uhuru.
Uhuru, JT, you have a great night, buddy.